Baiba Braže is Latvia's foreign minister. She was previously NATO's Assistant Secretary General for Public Diplomacy. She joins us on the line. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your Polish counterpart told the BBC this morning, Radosław Sikorski, foreign minister there, he told us that he would not attach excessive importance to President Putin's threats. Do you feel the same way?
Listen, Russians have tried to threaten Ukraine, to threaten us, to threaten the whole world with various points and measures since before the start of their aggression. So we cannot dismiss them. We take them seriously, but we also put them in perspective that Russia herself has signed the P5, the permanent 5 members of the UN Security Council resolution, which clearly says that the nuclear war cannot be won and shall not be fought. And that is basically what the reality is. If they try something that is beyond that is currently being fought, they clearly understand that the escalation ladder is such that it's unpredictable. So I cannot say that we dismiss or not pay attention to what the butcher in Kremlin is saying, but in the same time, we have to put it all in a perspective. NATO's nuclear deterrent is strong. NATO is united. So quite clearly, Chinese have told Russians certain aspects of their threats. So I think we have to be very clear that realistically, these are rhetorics that they try to use to intimidate us.
I mean, not every response has to be an overwhelming one, a nuclear one. There are other forms of response, which I know you're very well aware of, on what could be described as the front line. There's cyber attacks, there's other kinds of work that Russia could get up to. I mean, are there things you think there are risks that is okay to take? There are responses that the West should simply suck up so that Ukraine can use these missiles?
Oh, yes. Any restrictions to the use of what Ukraine can do with the weapons that various countries have provided, all those restrictions should be lifted. Ukrainians have been very diligent in not doing unreasonable things. So they go literally after legitimate Russian military targets, and that is their right under the self-defense. So the airfields from where Russian planes take off are, for example, legitimate military objects or similar logistical hubs where Russian military equipment and troops are gathered. So it's, again, I don't want to predict what Ukraine will do or not, but on our side, on the Western side, we should be very clear that Ukraine has the right to self-defense, and that includes also the use of what is necessary in terms of taking out legitimate military targets in Russia.
May I ask you more broadly about the aims of this war now? Because every time we speak to officials in Britain or in Washington, they say, look, it's up to Ukraine to decide when this war ends, how this war ends, what the end of the war should be. But it is the West that is essentially maintaining this war through a huge supply of arms. Is it your thought that we should have any input into what those war aims, what the end of this war should be, or should this just be an open-ended commitment and Vladimir Zelensky decides when this ends and how it ends?
I think that premise that a victim not giving up is prolonging the war would be like women not resisting during the rape. So I think that premise is fundamentally wrong that you just stated. And as far as Latvia is concerned, or other NATO members, what we are doing is not getting involved in the war, but we are helping the victim against an external aggression. And that right of self-defense, if we don't support that, then the whole UN Charter, any fundamental principle of international relations or relations among countries is meaningless. If you want to achieve that, then probably the right thing is then not supporting the right to self-defense. We think differently.
The Ukrainian authorities insist that Crimea must be retaken. Nobody believes that it will be retaken, that the east must be retaken, and there is absolutely no sign that the east will be retaken. Are we doing the right thing by Ukraine in supporting them towards war aims that no analyst believes can actually be fulfilled?
I think the analysts also didn't believe that Baltic states can regain independence after 50 years of Soviet occupation.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to believe that we can regain independence, and we did that. So if we just were led by what Western analysts believe or not, I think we would live in a totally different world. So let's support Ukraine. It wants to implement its fundamental right of self-defense against external aggression. That right is guaranteed in the UN Charter, and we should stand by Ukraine.
Foreign Minister, we're very grateful for your time. Thank you very much indeed. That was Baiba Braže, the Latvia's Foreign Minister. Thank you again.